coming up on this episode of Free Lunch. I was like, this is freaking left field. The only thing that made me say, I got to do it, is I love a challenge.
Yep.
And I felt like if I didn't say yes, I let this beat just punk me.
Yeah. That's the thing, man. A lot of people like the image more than they like the life.
Yeah, the idea. They like the idea of this.
Yeah, they can pose on Instagram, but it's are you willing to stay up? Are you willing to wake up at 4? He didn't have a rope.
He didn't have a rope.
Yeah.
And so it was either I'm going to make this leap or I'm going to fall to my death.
Yes. Yeah.
So the thing I want to have that I've never had is going to come at the hand of doing something you've never done.
Yep.
And that's going to be the catalyst.
Yep.
So what's that thing I've never done?
Like, yes, I get to have an elite job and like live the dream, but like at the end of the day, I'm here to provide for my family. That was always the prayer. Yeah, Lord, help me provide for my family.
What's going on, y'all? It's your boy Freestyle Gospel, a.k.a. The Real Free. And it's another episode of Free Lunch, free food for your soul. And I got my special guest here, man, the one and only, the amazing, your grandma's mom's favorite rapper, favorite actor.
Maybe.
Sammy Maximin. Give it to him. What up, man?
What up, bro? I'm going to say this. The only thing that seemed plausible to that was the favorite actor part. I am nobody's favorite rapper when it comes to like your grandma's favorite.
Your grandma's mom. Yeah. Nah, he's not that old. Yeah. Nah, I love this dude, man. I'm so excited to have him in the studio. It's been a long time since we had a chance to see each other face to face. Matter of fact, that's why I had to send you that the picture that I posted. I was going through my phone. I said, I know I got an awesome picture of me and Sammy. And ironically, you know how iPhone groups your photos by date?
Yeah.
So whatever the day was when we were at the Gospel Fest that we took that photo.
What year was that? 2017 or 2018?
Yeah, I think it was 2017. I had we must have been flicking it the hell up. I had 10 other pictures.
Oh, for real?
We must have been in front of that wall going sick, doing mad, or had someone else taking the pictures because they weren't selfie.
Gotta get the right one.
Yo, I love it, man. I always, from the first time I ever crossed paths with you, I've loved your energy. And to see you stick with it. Even after we crossed paths, didn't see this guy again,
was the last time I saw you when you were at my house and we were recording your verse to that song, which I still have, by the way, and still want to do.
You still have the verse?
I still have the verse. I still have the song. I still have to edit it.
Yeah.
You want to know something? When I made that beat, for anyone listening, I want to say about 6 or 7 years ago, I made this really crazy country.
It was crazy.
It was the most countryest thing ever.
That you've never.
This was before O Town Road.
Yes.
This is before all of that,
That's true.
Before country was cool. And it was so wacky. And I sent it to 3 other rappers, and they were like, hell no.
Country was cool.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
And I sent it to you, and you were the only one who was
honestly, I'm gonna have a transparent moment with you right here.
Yeah.
All right. I was really intimidated by that track.
Intimidated?
Yes. I mean, listen, it was wacky to me as well. I was like, this is freaking left field. The only thing that made me say, I gotta do it, is I love a challenge.
Yep.
And I felt like if I didn't say yes, I let this beat just punk me. And I'm like, I'm not going to let this beat punk me.
And you want to know the truth about my music? You just confirmed something in me. All this time I'm thinking, these people don't like my beats. My beats suck. No, I think they're scared.
Nah, man, that's definitely what it challenges you to say, can you do something other than what you normally in your comfort zone do?
And that's what it's about.
That's what it's about. So before we jump into too much, I don't want the audience to not get an opportunity to just be formally introduced to who you are. We know who each other are, so we can get caught on a tangent, guys, real fast. But let the people know just who is, in the most general way you can, for the sake of brevity on this show. Just who is Sammy Maximin?
I'll keep it short. My name is Sammy Maximin, everyone. Who am I? I am a music artist. I am a dad. I am a husband. I graduated Southern right here in New Haven.
Yeah.
I was a business finance major.
Okay. What year?
I graduated December 2016.
All right. All the 2016 alumni.
Yes, sir. I loved college when I was there. Loved it. Music has always been like the number one thing for me. The number one, like that was what I was always pursuing. Then one day, I was living in Arizona because my wife was training for track.
Yep.
Right after college, we moved out there, and we were struggling, like trying to find work and stuff like that. Then my buddy said you should start modeling.
Yeah.
And then that's how I kind of fell into that life. And now I'm a model and actor now.
Yeah. Full time.
That's
what you do.
Full time. And full time dad, full time husband, full time friend. Have a dog as well. Full time musician.
Yeah.
So yeah,
it's like full time husband, dad, and I act and model on the side.
It's really that. Honestly, I'm always telling people that's like my real job.
Yeah, man. I mean, I think it's healthy and appropriate to look at it just that way because it helps you prioritize what's really important in your life. And you briefly mentioned like you guys were had a moment of like hard times.
Yeah.
Which it's totally an understatement. Like if you had a chance to really hear this guy's story, it's amazing. But it's times like that where the gigs, the agents, those are not the people who are living that every day with you.
No.
It's the wife and those kids, and that's why they become the core number one team. That's the priority.
That's the home
you
team.
Guys are here when the limelights are off, when the directors, the cameras leave.
That's it, man.
It's you guys. Nah, that's big. That's huge. So I have like now, I was really excited about reconnecting with you because now for me, I've had this point where I've now taken the leap into like being this full-time creative. And it's like always hard to kind of like find an appropriate label just right off the bat, in that vein, like being like, what do I call myself, right? So I think lately I've been sticking with serial creative, right?
It's a good one. I like that.
I at one point I thought of like, digital content creator, maybe. I mean, that could be fitting, but it's not quite, what I want to.
You have so much talent.
It's so many things, right? So serial creative, what it is. But in any event, it's been the first time doing it at all, any facet of it, whether it's acting or music or whatever, full time. And it's been very, very scary of a process. Like first, just making the decision.
Yeah.
Like, so there's that part. I'm now, 3 months past that.
Yep.
But making that decision, being a dad, being a husband, I know there are a lot of entrepreneurs or creatives out there who are part of my inner circle, and they are, the people who listen to this podcast, who are trying to figure out how to navigate that decision.
Yeah.
So not even like the life, right? We're gonna get into that later.
Yep.
But like just that first decision. And I tell people I liken it to, and you can tell me a bit about what that decision moment was for you, what it was like. But I'm reminded of the Dark Knight movie when I think about this. And it was one of the things that helped me make the decision, along with having the amazing support of my kids and ultimately my wife. But like Batman is trying to get out of escape the prison that's in the ground, underground.
Dark Knight Rises.
Yeah. And so, he keeps trying to make this leap to the next ledge that'll help him get out. And he has this rope tied to his waist that ends up catching him every time he misses the leap and falls.
Yep.
And so, long story short, I'm giving you guys the quick, Cliff Note version. He, gets back down, he's discouraged, and there's like this really old guy, prisoner, who's been there for years, and he knows the story of this little kid who's the only person that's ever escaped and made the leap.
Yeah.
And so, Batman is like confused because he's like, he's kind of wondering if the story's even real because he's like, I'm Batman, like super in shape, and I can't make this leap. And you tell me like some little kid has made this leap? So the old prisoner guy is telling, Batman what his problem is. And he says, your problem is fear. And Batman's like, I'm Batman. I don't have any fear. And the old guy's like, that's exactly it. The little kid made it because when that little kid went to jump and make the leap to the next rock ledge to get out,
he didn't have a rope.
He didn't have a rope.
Yeah.
And so it was either I'm going to make this leap or I'm going to fall to my death.
Yes.
And so Batman goes back up to climb out again. The guys in the prison go to pass him the rope like they've always done to put around his waist.
Oh.
He tells them no. And then goes up and, hey, the story goes, man, he makes it, case closed. But I thought of that moment, and I thought back the 12 years that I've started or have done, freestyle gospel, started the brand, started doing, shows or trying to do local gigs and just make it, and always at the same time having a 9-to-5 job, sometimes 2 jobs. I've realized that the one thing I've never tried yet is removing the rope.
Wow.
Like through every experience over these 12 years, that saying that people say, I don't know if you heard it, it says you won't experience something you never had until you do something you've never done.
Yep.
And when I try to look back and figure out why have I the success that I never had that I want, I'm looking back over my behaviors and my, experiences and how I've done things, and I'm trying to find, okay, well, what's the thing I've never done then? Because that's the only thing separating me from the success I've never had that I wish to have.
Yeah.
So the thing I want to have that I've never had is going to come at the hand of doing something you've never done.
Yep.
And that's going to be the catalyst.
Yeah.
So what's that thing I've never done? And it's remove the rope.
Yeah.
I've always had the rope. And I feel like it's been the thing that has eclipsed just that extra oomph.
And for people watching, what he's saying and what I do, we're not saying don't have a job, don't work.
Absolutely not.
The rope is this safety net. It's the safety of instead of waiting tables or driving Uber so I can pay my phone bill and pay my rent, I need to have this 9-to-5 because what if I get sick one day? What if I need the protection of a job? And what you're saying is that, we're not saying don't get a job.
No, absolutely not. I'm saying I think for each individual person, when that, and this is, and we're both, I think, are coming at this from a perspective of having a wife and kids, family, right?
Yeah.
So there's going to be, a slight bit of nuance there for you, the individual, listener out there, creative, who's juggling and weighing this decision. And it's just you, maybe you're living on your own and it's just you, or maybe you're still living at, mom's, crib in the basement and it's just you and you're doing this hustle. You have some different things to juggle and manage or whatever, or think about. Over the 12 years that me personally, that I've been doing this, I've had a wife and kids that entire time. So I've always saw the efficacy and the benefit, obviously, in having a job, keeping a job, right? I have a real family to take care of.
Yes.
And I still do now.
Yeah.
So what is the difference? What's the difference between deciding to take the rope off now when I still have the same responsibilities versus 10 years ago, maybe? Right. For me, it's it's a collective decision, right?
Has to be.
Me and my wife made this decision, number one.
That's the first part.
And I think too, my other partner in this decision, right? My wife, my family, right? She's also had the experience of looking back and seeing, I've watched my husband try this. He's been as faithful as he can possibly be with also trying to keep a job. Yep. Because anybody who's trying to be a creative and have a job knows after you work your job and you're exhausted and you're tired, there's only but so much time left in a day, left in a week for you to put in work.
Or even in your mind. You're drained.
To put in work into that vision, that creative thing or whatever, right? So she's watched me be faithful with the small, with the last 2 hours left in the day after working a full-time job. And how hard I've worked to make something out of that just measly 2 hours. Yep. And that, I think, goes into the decision, right? If you're somebody who you're juggling a family and your family sees, well, after he works the 9-to-5, he comes home, jumps on the PlayStation for a bit. Play, shoots the crap maybe for another hour with his buddies, and then just goes to sleep. It might be a little hard to get the rest of the team to buy into this removing the rope.
Exactly.
But I think for me, what was really helpful and like nudging is my wife like really got beside me and was like, "Listen, I've watched you bust your behind making the best of this what's left of the day for a long time. This is the only thing left to do." Like,
if you're serious about it,
and that's the part you have to be honest with yourself with that part, and whoever's the other family or significant other person in your life that's going to reap either the benefits or the detriment of your toiling or lack thereof, diligence. What was that decision making point for you? Like this, what you said that was how long ago? How long you been doing this full time?
So I graduated college in 2016, and then I was like, "Yep, screw getting my master's, screw like getting an internship so I can get this big fancy job on Wall Street. I'm gonna do music full time." And
2016.
That was December 2016, the day I graduated college. As I walked that stage,
did we have was wifey present then for that moment?
But I'll preface with this: like before I even got to that point, there was already 10 years of just work and build up to get to that point. How old was I at that time? I was 23 years old when I said, "All right, this is going to be my life. The next chapter is going to be me without like whatever this like overarching presence is in your life, whether it's school, whether it's a 9 to 5."
So that must have been around the time that we first met, or you reached out to me. I know. I remember speaking to you in the parking lot of Hamden Plaza. I think you were telling me you were a college student, or
it was either my sophomore or junior year. And like by the time I had reached out to you, I had been working on music for like 8 years. Like not going to parties, not skipping lunch, every free period. I went to boarding school, so in between classes, you could hang out in the student center or go play video games with your buddies. Go to class, walk back. I would walk back to my room. It was a 10-minute walk. Work on music. I got an hour. Just put an hour in. Go to class. All right, It's lunchtime. Walk back to my room. Work on music. That's an hour. Next class. Every single day. Every single day. And like on weekends when people would go out, I would go home. And that's when I would do like all my like vocal recordings.
Yeah.
So like I would, like make the beats and throughout the week, I'd make my beats. I'd write the lyrics. Because when I go home, I can go in my real room. And I can just go all out.
Yeah.
So like
I remember the room studio.
Yeah, man. Like that.
It's like a real room, guys. Like,
it's like my bed. It's the same in my room right now. It's like my bed's right there, and then I have my desk.
Yeah.
Gotta have a desk in the room. And then as soon as I wake up, I'm at the desk. Every single day. It can be Saturday, it can be Sunday. I'm at the desk.
I remember even seeing on like your social media timeline, like just like little video snippets of you at the desk.
Yeah, right before I came
You'll even have like the baby sometimes with like when the babies came. Now it's like the baby at the desk. Same thing, not missing a beat.
Not missing a beat. But again, I say that because that was all in me. By the time I walked the stage to graduate, that was already the next logical step.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like doing that in high school, then doing that in college. College, now I can perform, now I can talk to people.
Yeah.
I would join like little events. Can I host this? Just so people can see my face, and then like, oh, that's Sammy. He hosted this event. And then they would know my music because I'd also be performing my music.
Yeah.
And then at a certain point, people were just tired of seeing me because I was literally just everywhere.
Yeah.
And looking back, what I would have done now, who I am now, I would have just pivoted and gone to a different college and just worked that market. Then work the next market. But because like I had this like childish mindset of, not childish, but a kid.
Yeah.
Where it's like, I'm going to be famous one day. It could happen any day. I could be walking.
Absolutely.
And that's how you have to live it. It can literally happen any day. And that's how it does happen. It can be any day, anytime you check your email, anytime you get a text. So, yeah. Graduation is coming up with college, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm talking to like one of my mentors. And I'm like, yeah, my mom's telling me I should, get an internship here, work, be a grad intern or whatever. And she literally looked at me and was like, "Hun, you need to go out and do whatever's in your heart, because I'm telling you right now, you're not going to be happy."
Yeah, man.
And for me, that was going to be the rope. That was going to be my rope. If I could just get a job at college, still do music, still have enough time to make money. She was like, "No, you got to go out there and do what makes you happy. Go do your music." And the one thing she told me that is hitting today is like, and don't be afraid to use your other gifts.
Yeah.
Outside of your music. And at the moment, I didn't know what she was talking about, but like now I'm like,
yeah,
I see.
Absolutely. No, that's amazing, man. I think, it's I feel like when you have to put like you said, the before 2016 even came, you were already,
it was like duh at that point.
You were already practicing the behaviors that would be necessary to be, what's the word I'm looking for? The behaviors that would need to be normalized, regular, second nature. That's the behaviors needed when you do this full time.
Yes.
Is getting up early or staying up late or being determined I'm going to do it with the baby bouncing on my knee. That's the kind of commitment needed when you do it full time. And that's the thing about taking the leap and doing whatever it is you're thinking of doing, you guys listening out there full time, is that you have to
build.
You have to start to develop that practice and behaviors and mindsets in you before it actually is full time.
Yep.
Because it's one of those things where, like, once you make it, if you haven't been practicing like that, and then you make the decision, just out of emotion or whatever, I'm going to do this full time. The way it can become a detriment to you or a negative without that rope or any fail-safe, right? Yep. Without you having those behaviors already developed in you, is too great. It could be too damaging.
Yeah.
So you have to have the work done. You have to have like this second. It's kind of like how I tell my daughter, who's like, she's graduating high school this year. She's going to be going to college.
Nice.
And so I tell her, hey, she has a couple college classes that she's been taking in high school. And so oftentimes, she might be like, she might talk about how she's doing some paper or trying to finish it up last minute, it's due tonight or whatever. And I had explained to her this, thing about time management, like trying to sort that out. And I go, listen, it's only one college class that you might be taking right now with your high school courses. And so what seemingly or seems like it's working for you because it's only one class, that's what you're doing. But it's not developing in you the needed time management when your entire class course load is college classes. Yeah. When you don't have just that one professor who's looking for their 2, 3, or 10-page paper due today, but 3 other classes want their 10-page paper due today.
Yep.
So you have to start developing those time management skills now, honey, so that when you go to college,
you're ready.
You're ready, because college won't give you a chance to now first develop it. You're in there now.
Yep. It's
the same with this creative space. Whatever it is you're doing, when you decide to do it full time, there is no time to then start developing the tools and behaviors.
Yeah.
There's no time for that.
It's crushing because you're going to wake up at 10 a.m. and not, if you don't even know how to start, you know what I mean? Like, what are you going to do? Exactly. You're going to just throw the day away because it's not in you yet.
Yes. You have to, if anything, if the rope at the present point where you are right now in your life, if you're somebody out there toiling with the decision, the rope, along with obviously being...
The rope can prepare you.
Obviously it being whatever it is for you, the fail-safe, the safety net, right? It should also act as affording you the time to develop those behaviors. Yeah. I have the rope here in place for now because I'm still learning how to just discipline myself.
Yes.
So that when I make that decision, and if I'm, married with kids and I, sit with my significant other and we sit down and make that decision, that other person can also know and support me that much more because they've seen and watched that. Like my wife tells me, blesses my heart every time I hear her say it, if anybody can do it, I know you can.
Mm-hmm.
And she has told me that and has lifted my spirits up in some times where I like, would start to doubt myself with something. And she would go like, I've watched you, Chris. Like, if anybody can do this, Chris, you can. I know you're capable of this. I've watched you do it. And I think when it came time to remove the rope, for me, my wife felt comfortable enough saying, go ahead, green light, because I know if anybody can do this, you can. Right. Like you have what's necessary. So that's really, really huge. Now, I mean, what has that, because for me now, so now that, you make the decision, it becomes like it's game time, go time, balls to the wall.
Well, I'll say this though, like, if you're married, right, and you have this decision and your partner's not on board with it, it will never work.
It will never
Even
work.
if you are just boyfriend and girlfriend, it will never work.
work.
When my wife, we've been together 10 years, it'll be 10 years this year, and married 5 years this year. We started dating like our freshman year in college.
We just hit 5 years too, by the way.
Nice, congratulations.
Yes. Awesome.
5 years is a good milestone.
Yes,
5 years is a milestone, you know?
Absolutely.
It's an important milestone. You're in children's terms, you're like ready to go to kindergarten, so you're ready to go to school. Like,
yes.
But when me and my wife were like just talking in the talking phase, 3 weeks in, I literally sat her down. I was like, look, this is my life. Music is my focus. This is where I'm going. This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to be famous. I'm going to travel the world. I'm going to be on big stages. I'm going to create music. Like, I literally told her all of this. And I was like, and I'm going to do what it takes to get there.
Yeah.
And you have the opportunity, like, you can ride with me.
We're early in now. You can turn away.
Yeah. Like, I literally gave her that option. And I think everyone needs to do this.
Yes.
I go on Twitter and I get angry at all this stuff people are saying about relationships. Should he pay for this? Should I pay for this? Why don't you guys sit down?
You should have talked about that stuff.
That should have been talked about way before we got to dinner.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
It makes sense.
Just be honest.
Yes.
And like, just be honest with your partner. And if they want to ride with you, believe me, we were college kids. We had no idea 10 years later we'd have 2 kids having to like figure out our life. But because she was on board then, she had all that build up with me throughout college. Yeah. So when I walked the stage and was like, hey, and after I had proposed, I was like, would you marry me? And I'm like, I'm going to be a full-time music artist. And she's like, oh yeah, woohoo.
Yeah. And
I think what also helped, she's also an athlete. So she was pursuing her goals as well.
Yeah.
So we just had this energy where it's like, we're down to do whatever we got to do. And I think you just got to have the right partner, someone that can see it, can go through it, will not, when times get hard, be like get a real job.
And I think that's the speaking to the right partner piece, I think you find yourself with the right partner as long as you can be honest.
That's it.
And I think people end up screwing themselves over on the back end when they see something really nice that they want now. And so because that's all they can see, they lie to themselves or that other person. And then now this relationship is built off a lie. And eventually the truth shows itself of what you really were passionate about, what you really wanted to do with your life. And now that person, now you're upset.
And you have a toxic relationship to add on top of that. And here's the thing about toxic relationships. Everyone can see it. Yeah. Everyone can see it. It seems like the only people in toxic relationships who can't see they're in a toxic relationships are those people. But like everyone at that dinner table and at the gathering can see it.
Can feel it, see it. You definitely can feel it.
You can feel it. You can feel it. And it's like, let's just start at day one and be like, look.
Facts.
This is the truth. I mean, if you want to ride with me, sure. If you don't.
Yeah.
All right. Here's the thing, people. If you see something nice and they don't want you or it doesn't work out, there's more people.
Yes, there are more people out here.
There are so many more people.
But specifically, there's the right person out there for you, but it's through passing the gates of honesty.
Yeah.
That, like when you're how more beautiful of an experience it is when you are upfront with someone and honest and you still get a out of the neck. Like when you had that talk with your wife way back then, 10 years ago.
Yeah.
And it's, hey, I want to do this with my life. I want to do this. And you might have been nervous going into that conversation or whatever. But you get it out. How blissful and amazing is that of a feeling to, after being your truest, honest self, to hear a, sure.
It's more important than will you marry me?
It's far more valuable to you because you present it honestly rather than you're lying to this woman or you're lying to this dude. And now you have to live your relationship, the rest of it out, knowing I got this secret, this thing that's eating me inside because I'm not fulfilling my passion, what I want to do. And it's being curbed by me just not wanting to lie, or I'm afraid of losing this thing or this person.
If you're ever afraid to lose something, I'm learning this now. Like, if you're ever afraid to lose music or lose an opportunity, I feel like you're almost not really ready for it. Like, if you're so afraid to the fact where it's like you're willing to lie, you're willing to cover.
Yeah.
You're not ready for that moment. Yeah. I always think of like
wow, that's interesting.
Spider-Man: Homecoming. There's a quote where Tony Stark wants the suit back from Peter Parker, and he's like, "Please don't. I'm nothing without the suit." And he goes, "If you're nothing without the suit, you shouldn't wear it."
Wow,
and that's crazy. Deep. That is deep.
That is deep.
Like,
wow,
it hits me every time I think about it, because it's like, if you are nothing, if I strip this away,
that's crazy.
You're not really about it.
I love that.
Like, it's just the
truth.
truth.
Man, that's true. So, I mean, you got obviously, you were able to be your most transparent, your honest self. The wife, she signed right up. She's like, I'm not missing this train. I see the light.
Yeah.
I'm jumping on this train. You're going to be able to tell. Look, when you're getting the Grammy, you're going to be like, yo, I saw this a mile away, guys.
She's happy about the financials.
So she signs up for that, man. You have kids. What is the finding the balance of that, right? We talk about like the priority, right?
Yeah.
And I think, the last time I checked, I'm big on checking my analytics on across my platforms. So like the last time I checked my analytics, I think it was actually yesterday. Our podcast audience is about 70% millennials.
Yeah.
So
shout out to millennials. I'm a millennial.
Yeah. So in many of them, at least the ones that I know of, just like, friends or, friends of friends or, family member acquaintances, are, either in long-term relationships or are creatives with, kids or something, to that effect, whether they're married or with kids or both. So there's this like balancing act, right?
Yeah.
Even if you're not doing it full time. But for those who are, planning or hoping to do this full time, or who are already in it, like you and I, what's that balancing act like when you're trying to be, have the priority of, the wife and kids? How do you keep them as the priority? Like, when I say that, I mean in like a practical way. Like, I hate when people talk in like, good sayings or like quotes. Like, give me the practical steps someone could take to say, keep this always present in mind with each day when you wake up, or I try to maybe do this thing each day to keep them as my priority and keep me centered as I do this entrepreneur life each day. Like, what's that for you?
Well, for one, you have to realize their survival, their protection, their basic human needs are number one. For example, if you wake up, they're hungry. Before you could even open your laptop to respond to an email, they have to eat. The dog has to go out.
Yeah.
The dog has to eat.
The wife has to get the kiss on the forehead.
The wife has to get the kiss on the forehead. You have to brush your teeth. I'm a firm believer you have to make up your bed, because like these are things that if you put those things first, it makes you a better artist. It makes you a better model and a better actor.
How? How does that make you better?
Because it makes you more present. It makes you more responsive. It makes you more responsible. It makes you more professional. Like, one thing about me is I will work hard. I will do everything, and I will be the best, most professional person I can be.
Yeah.
And it's because like I put those little things in my life first, where it's like I have to work out. Like I have to take in those things. I have to do those things. When it comes to balancing your family, that I feel like that's a never ending, like, I don't have the answer on this, but I feel like that's a never ending, like, not issue,
practice.
But like it's a never ending practice. Like you have to keep.
I'm never going to perfect that.
No.
It's always being developed and reinvented or assessed, tweaking things along the way. I would agree with that. For me, I think I've tried to. Wow, you would have explained that perfectly. As far as it's always changing, because when I think back on it, what is it the thing that I try to do, but I feel like it's always changing.
It's always changing. Your kid's gonna end up crawling. Your kid's gonna end up having to use the potty. Yeah. You're gonna have to potty train. So guess what? Those days and those months while you're potty training, your priorities kind of have to shift a bit.
Or as those kids get bigger, like I have bigger kids. Yeah, I have a newborn. That will have coming soon.
Can you get the claps?
Yes.
Can you get the claps?
Due this year in August.
Dad of 5, that's no easy feat. That can't be an easy feat.
But I think, to the evolving mechanisms needed, right, to make that balancing act work, like you have to adjust to what the family's needs are.
Yes.
And the only way you can adjust to what their needs are is if you're in tune to what their needs are at all.
Yes.
Right?
Be present.
You have to be present. So, there's some mornings where the start of my day, all my wife needs is just a kiss on the forehead.
Yeah.
There's some other mornings where when I'm doing my kind of like, assessing, the home.
Yeah.
I could see the wife needs a little bit more than just a kiss on the forehead. She might need the kiss on the forehead, needs me to be the one to get the kids up, dressed, and needs me to drop the kids off at school.
Yeah, man.
And then I can get to the laptop. But I have to be present to see that.
Yeah.
To assess that. With my teenage kids, they're for the most part when they get that age, they're kind of like self-absorbed and consumed. They need or not need. They come to you less. So
you have more free time, but
but interesting enough, because they come to you less because they're busy doing their own thing with their the times when they do come to you become that much more important.
Wow.
Right. So, and I got girls.
Wow. Yeah.
So, this kind of thing that I've kind of developed with my girls is that, hey, they know throughout the day, dad is creating, dad is doing different things. He's really busy. So we have like a call back, a back-to-back call, like unspoken signal, right? So they know if they call dad and I see their number come up, but I'm busy, I'm in the middle of something, I'm working, but they're the priority though. I'm working. I might not answer the phone because I'm working. But they know if they really need dad, they know to do the double tap, the call back to back. And now that's my signal that when I get a call back to back, whoever, I don't care what I'm in the middle of doing, what business or work, hey guys, hold on a second.
That's a good signal.
I gotta answer this because it's the back to back. And sometimes I've called back, and I'd be like,
"Can you get it right?"
I'd be like, "Hey, what's wrong? Is everything okay?" And they'll be like, "Oh yeah, what you doing?" And I'll be like, "Honey, you forgot. You did the call back to back. I thought it was an emergency. Can I call you?" And they're like, "Oh, I forgot," because sometimes they forget, the signal. But it's worked great, I think, for them, for me, to be able to be responsible with work, but also keeping them at the priority so that they don't get lost or feel like, oh, because dad is doing this, I no longer matter some way. Like, absolutely not. My wife is absolutely like the same. Like she doesn't do the back-to-back call. With the wife, if I miss the first call and it's important, the next thing I'm hearing is
a bang at the door.
The key opening the door, and I'm like, hey, honey.
Yeah, man. I mean,
but yeah, they feel. I'm glad that they feel confident to walk into that role in my life, and they know how much they mean to me, and that it's going to be received well. Yeah. I'm not going to roar or scream or shout like, "What the heck are you doing?" Or they know they are my world that way.
Yes, sir. It's the thing with family is like they're obviously number one, but like you have to constantly remind yourself of that. You have to constantly remind yourself, because you can get so caught up with what you're doing. But then for me, it always hits me when I see my son sleep, like at night when he's finally asleep, and I'm like, okay, maybe I could have did this better. Maybe I could have did this response better. Or like, he's having a temper tantrum because he's going through this. Like, all these things hit me as I'm staring at him while he's asleep. And then the next day, the same way I would think like, okay, I got to do a better audition, I'm thinking I got to be a better dad today. So in my mind, I'm working on all those little things. Just like when I hear a song I'm working on, I'm listening in the car like, okay, I got to work on this, and this. So when I get to the laptop, I'm doing those corrections.
Yeah.
So when he wakes up and I wake up, all right, boom, I know what I got to do better today.
Yeah.
And honestly, it's been making me a better dad.
How old is he?
He's 3. He's 3 years old.
And you have 2 sons?
I have 2. Yeah, I have 2. My other one's 5 months. He's 5 months.
Oh, so the 3-year-old, I saw he has his first gig?
Yeah, he had his first gig. Well, first solo gig. He did a couple shoots with us, like family shoots.
Yeah.
But like this was his first gig alone.
Nice.
And, like,
how'd it go? Did he enjoy it? Like,
he loved it. They loved him. They want him back for another one.
Yes.
So he's got another one coming up. And he loved it. He's just so silly. But the whole time he's like being silly and he's playing with toys. That's all they want to see him do, play with toys.
Yeah.
And it's like, wow, that's my kid. You know?
That's amazing.
It's crazy. I knew he was onto this life when my mom was like, oh yeah, he's good for that stuff. Like, he's so animated. Like, he's always doing this. Yeah. Just like you when you were a kid.
Just like
and it hit me like, okay, I guess I got to rally behind him.
Awesome, man.
And my wife is full momager mode. So she's ready. She's killing it.
Awesome. Now with the I've been doing more of, trying to, I think with doing the full-time thing and making that choice as an entrepreneur, right? The idea is not only to like walk in fulfillment of whatever your passion is, right? But in a huge part, a very realistic part, is to make money and more of it. All right, that's that's sensible. So
that's why you become a model, people.
Duh. So to that like fact, it when it has this, I mean, I guess it's a little different from being actor and doing modeling. A lot of that stuff in the background that's required, like administratively, is with agents or agencies doing a lot of things or moving factors, versus maybe operating as an entrepreneur, like a storefront or a business. Right. So it's kind of like weird, a mix for me, because I'm trying to do a little bit of the like acting stuff, right? I do some of the voiceover work here, right, in my studio.
Get it where, and especially with this setup.
Yeah. But then I do a lot of management of this space as a rental space. For other podcasters.
Oh wow.
Who record?
So you have other people come in and
they record their podcasts here, like that, right? To for me to keep the overhead like low and manage easy, so I can pay the bills, right?
Yeah.
So, but that takes more of my non-creative time.
Right.
I have to like kind of be this administrator.
Yeah.
To handle that and do that. So it's
not easy, man.
Yeah, it's not. Yeah. It's not easy. I feel like I'm stuck in this space where I just only want to create.
Yeah.
And I don't really want to be this businessman.
Yeah.
Like, so, like, in the spaces where, at least where you are, like, the majority of your time, full time, and, like, because you are still, working on, your music and things like that, like, how much do you experience being, like, the businessman side of it? Oh, and do you enjoy that side at all? For you?
It's crazy. I have like I graduated with a business finance degree. I don't know how I did it, but I graduated with a 3.2 GPA. Nice. I don't know. I mean, yeah, whatever. School's a game. You just got to learn to play it. But that's all school is. Anyone who gets good grades, they're not anybody special.
A whole nother podcast episode.
Yeah, they're not that special. But I'm more of like on the business side when I'm doing my music. Because when I'm doing music, I'm everything. Like I got to plan the shoots. My wife is like very involved in it because she has ideas and stuff. So like we're planning the shoots. We are okay. Like planning the travel. How much are the outfits for this? You know, how much is going to be the travel for this? The lunch. How much are we going to pay the talent?
Yeah.
So like we handle that stuff. So that part of my brain is working when I'm doing my music.
Is that fun for you? Like, or is it kind of like a necessary evil?
It's nerve-wracking. It's a necessary evil for now, I believe. I believe like...
So if you could afford to pay someone else to do all that, would you?
I believe in paying people for what their strengths are.
No, I'm saying, but would you look for someone with that strength to do it for you?
Absolutely.
If you could. If you had the money to just pay somebody. Like, or do you enjoy a piece of it that I'd like to have my hand in some of it?
But here's the thing about having your hand in it, like, and knowing every moving part. You're not going to mess it up. Unless you're a complete amateur and you don't care.
Yeah.
Like... I'm saying that I probably would pay someone, but I probably would be a nervous wreck, like looking over that person's shoulder, like, wait, what are you doing with this? You know, like,
what's that?
Yeah. Like with acting and modeling, like I signed the release. I know what they're paying me.
Yeah.
I have no control over anything else.
Yeah.
With music, it's like, I'm making this. I got to put it out. My marketing brain is always working. Like, how can I promote this on social media? Okay, I got to get this kind of photo. Like my brain's always working like that. I have to have this kind of post, this kind of post. I'm going to drop it on this day. I got to film on this day. And like all those things, I'm doing all of that.
Yeah.
And
I absolutely hate it. I'm sorry. I hate that part of it. I mean, because...
what part specifically?
Well, like when it comes to drafting contracts, let's say. Like, I hate that. Yeah. When it comes to the music side, I told you before we went on air, like when I, did the tour in Switzerland and France, like I had to write the contract for that. So like, it's that part that I don't like, but I do like because I'm kind of like neurotic when it comes to being a perfectionist and things being like how you said, if you paid someone to do it, you'd be looking over their shoulder, like, what are you doing?
Right.
I probably have that part of me.
Yeah.
Right. So I could appreciate the outcome when I engage in it because I know it's done right and how I want it to be because I did it. I just don't like the process.
Well, like I said before, I believe in having people in your circle and utilizing their strengths. Like when I go out and do a video, I'm not shooting the video, even though I have every shot mapped out in my head.
Yeah. You can't stand in front of the camera and be behind the camera at the same time.
Right. Unless if you've trained and studied the camera for 10 years and you can do that.
Maybe you can pull it off.
Do it. But if you're someone like me where it's like you have the idea, you have the vision, but like this guy who's behind the camera, he's a genius with how he can capture these shots. He knows what angle. He knows
the vision to life.
Right. He knows how to edit it. I can tell you what I envision, but that's his strength. And I rather lean on him for that.
Yeah.
When it comes to writing contracts and stuff like that, I rather have someone whose strength and like their whole life is studying contracts, is knowing that.
Yeah. No,
And
absolutely.
yes, I would definitely be there watching them write it. You know what I'm saying?
Like, could you send a draft to me, please? Thank you. Yeah.
Right. And like, it's when I'm on a set, right? Here's what I realize. Every single person on a set is there for their particular strength. There's a person styling you. There's a person doing your makeup.
Yes.
You yourself are the talent. And like, you can't get too cocky because guess what? There's also a lighting guy. There's a grip guy. There's like, everyone's working their position.
Absolutely.
And you're there and you're praying to God like, oh Lord, help me deliver on my position. Mm-hmm. And I feel like that's how an entity is run. It's a team. Yeah. It's a team of people just working together to make it happen. What's
the longest time, if this is, I believe it's been a thing that you've had to experience with your family, you've had to leave your family to go do a gig of something?
I just did that last week.
What's the longest period of time you've been away from your family?
So far, like I've had shoots that are like a week long, and like I'll stay away 2 nights and I'll just like jet home for that one night and then come back and stay the other 2 nights. So like maybe I would say 3 days is probably the most I've done.
The most?
Yeah,
okay.
The most.
So
when you're touring, it's different.
What was the first time like with you and your wife when you had to go away for more than a day?
So, again, we're going back to college. So in college, we were used to like her having to go away for a couple of days because like she's training with track and stuff like that. She has a track meet, so she has to go away for a few days. So we've already always had that thing in us.
Kind of had that experience building up.
But now when you're married with kids, it's a lot. It weighs a lot more, like
what's that like for you? Like just that time when you're away? Like how are you guys still attempting to be connected even though you're away in those days? Like as they're going, like phone check-ins in the morning or at night, or
it was one of those things like when we first did. So when I shot this movie back in October, this was like the first time I was like away for like days at a time.
Yeah,
and it was hard because like I had to figure out, okay, when's the right time to call? Because you got to check in.
Yeah.
You can't just text.
Yeah.
So for me, I'll wake up, do all I got to do in my hotel. Whatever.
Maybe the text works for the girlfriends, guys, but the wives aren't having it.
No. Yeah. Wake up, I'll get ready, and on my commute to set, wherever I'm going, that's when I'll FaceTime.
Yes.
So then I get to see the kids as they're waking up, blah, 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 on the commute.
Yeah.
I'll go do my thing, maybe text her throughout the day, blah, blah, blah. She sends me a pic or whatever. And then at the end of the day, when we're wrapped, I'll FaceTime again as I'm on my way back. And then maybe I'll FaceTime during dinner. And then I'm just like, okay, I love you, blah, blah, blah. I love you. I'll talk to you tomorrow. Because I'm not one of those people who can like hold the phone up the entire night.
Yeah.
Like if I'm away, I have to take advantage of these moments in terms of like, if I'm in a hotel room, I could be working on music. I got to do auditions.
Yeah.
I got to hit the gym. Like I got to prepare for tomorrow. So there's things I got to do. And like I still got to get a good night's sleep. So you plan, you plan those calls where you have time to do everything you need to do.
I think we didn't have, like my wife and I didn't have the, little, I guess, prep moments going into our marriage. To kind of prepare for what that first time would be like.
Yeah.
But it was.
What's the longest you've been away?
2 weeks.
2 weeks. That's But that's
what made it difficult is that 2 week moment.
Mm-hmm. Was she pregnant during this time?
No. That 2 week moment was the first time. Also,
the first time
being away.
Yeah.
So it was like gone from seeing each other every single day to now 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And it was really difficult for both of us.
Right.
Like going into it, I would imagine like, I'll have to ease the wife, emotionally a bit. I didn't realize how much it would impact me as well. And it was crazy because so after a weekend, like a week, when we hit like a full week, that was kind of like a really pivotal moment for both of us. And so she FaceTimes me, right? And I could see her crying on the FaceTime, bro.
Really?
And so, and this is when I was, doing the music tour, and I was in Utah and Idaho for 2 weeks. God. And so I'm all the way on the other side of the country, and I see my wife crying on the FaceTime, man. And when I tell you, I hung, and I knew not to say anything to her on the call because she would have tried to talk me out of it or say, don't worry about her or whatever. So I remember hanging up the phone and going to the road manager right there on the spot and saying, I'm sorry, guys, I got to go home.
Did you go home?
The only thing that kept me there, bro, is the flight at that moment in time. Any flights to get me back home was like almost double what I paid for the flight to get out there, and it was more money than all the money I had in my bank account.
Damn.
So I stayed. We worked through it and got through that second week. But had I had enough money in my account, like I would have been home the next day.
Do you think this is also one of those moments where it's like those moments are building you when you don't have enough money to drive home or to fly home? Like it's building that thing.
Because I'm aware God knew, right? God knew I was going to find myself, or we were going to find ourselves in this moment, and I wasn't going to have enough money to just run home and fix it, right? Yeah. And I told her, like, when we look back on that moment now, it's like the idea of it is okay because we've braved kind of that storm, and we know what to expect. We know what we need. So then so now you fast forward, and then I go and do the Switzerland, France tour, right? And you're working on a whole different time zone there, but I knew what we needed. I know for us, it might be different from artist to artist or creative to creative, right? For us, we need to have frequent FaceTimes. Like,
yes, that's what we were saying. Yeah.
Yeah. So if it's in the morning, if it's a check-in in the afternoon, or on if there's a lunch break on set or whatever it is, I'm FaceTiming the wife. Like, hey, what's going on, babe?
You have to.
We need to stay there connected for this to work. Now, if you don't aspire or have in your plans to travel for long periods of days or times or way and doing whatever it is you do. For those out there listening, then that's not a thing that you need to work out with your spouse. But
it's hard for people like us, especially me, because I'm someone who loves to travel. I'll jump at a gig that's like, hey, you got to be here for 2 weeks or whatever. Yeah. But the challenge, it also becomes another challenge of like, how are you going to stay connected to your family?
Yeah.
And I'm the kind of dude, I'm like, all right, let's just have them come with me.
Yeah.
But where we are right now, we can't really afford to just be like, all right, let me buy 5 plane tickets.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So,
but I think for me too, it's like I'm also using that time where we're apart and the emotions are really high and, it's a sensitive, time because we're away. I'm also using that almost as like tackling fuel.
Yeah.
For what I'm doing while I'm away.
Yeah.
It's like if I'm going to go away and leave the side of the person that means the most to me in the world, whatever that thing is over there that I'm going to, I am going to kill it. I promise you. I'm giving that thing 1,000% because that thing that I left back home matters. But yeah, man, like I tell everybody I've used that as tackling fuel. It's why I'm diligently, I've traveled, out of the state to just, a small crowd or audience before, like nothing huge or major, and kill it I don't care how large or small the stage or audience is. It's because I've left something that matters so much to me.
Yeah.
Why would I go away and half do something? Like put half effort into something? Like if I have to leave, I need the next thing I'm leaving to go do to be the catalyst for the next leap of success.
That's right. Yeah.
So what are some of the, for you, what are some of the thoughts that go into your mind when you step on a new set or you even just submit a new audition?
Yeah.
What's the tackling fuel, quote unquote, for you in your mind? Like what are the thoughts that are making and shaping your 110%, your 200%?
The first thing is like, Lord, help me deliver. Like that's always the first thing. When I'm away and like say I'm on a new set, right? I get there. First thing in my brain is like, we're going to have fun. And like,
so it's kind of easing the anxiety.
Yeah,
like,
we're going to have a good day. It's a good day. I immediately in my head say 5 things I'm grateful for. Like I have all these things like, Lord, help me deliver. 5 things I'm grateful for.
You see, I got the gratitude rock here in the studio.
Yeah, bro. That's it. This gratitude is honestly a cure for so many things.
Yes.
And honestly, I think that's why I'm constantly working. Like more comes to me. Because I'll be on set and I'm like, I'm grateful for this gig. I'm grateful for this day. I'm grateful for my wife, my family, and I'm grateful for whatever else is to come.
Absolutely.
And like something else always comes, and I'm always being fed.
Yes.
And
absolutely.
I think it goes back to that honesty. Like when your intentions are right and like you're honest with what you want. Like I know I'm here to provide for my family. Like, yes, I get to have an elite job and like live the dream, but like at the end of the day, I'm here to provide for my family. That was always the prayer. Yeah, Lord, help me provide for my family. Then he opened this door.
Yeah.
Now I'm on set. Now I have the added blessing of I'm doing something I love. Yes. And to me, that is so precious. And it goes back to why I said, that's why I'll make up my bed in the morning, because that opportunity is so precious. I am doing every little thing in my life. I will work out every day. I will change my diet. Like all these little things. So I can show up and be the best I can be. So I can kill it.
Yes. Yes.
And
absolutely.
when you're creative and like you've been through hard times and like you've been through dry periods and no one's calling and no one cares and you feel like you're going to die.
Yeah.
When an opportunity opens, when a door opens, a light shines through, like you got to take that thing and grab it by the throat. Be grateful for it and cheer it on.
Facts, man. Amazing. Every episode of Free Lunch, at the end of the show, it's, free lunch, free food for the soul is our tagline. So,
oh my God, we've been going an hour.
So everybody that I have on the show, I asked them, could they close us out with something edifying for the soul, for the listeners out there? What is something that you want the people to take away from the whole conversation that we've had today? What's one big takeaway you want the aspiring full-timer, the person who's out there listening, who I haven't taken the leap yet, but I'd love to do this with my life, whether they're a musician, whether they're an actor or model, considering all we talked about, and they have a family. That's the unique perspective I want to approach this with. They're the entrepreneur, they're the creative out there with the family. They haven't taken the leap yet, but they would like to. What's the thing you want them to take away from this conversation?
Are you going to put in the work? All right. Forget intention.
Be so blunt there. Are you going to put in the work?
Are you going to put in the work? Because here's the thing. I know models and actors who don't even have an agency, but they work just as much as me, if not more, because they are on Backstage. This is a website you can submit yourself to. Yeah. They're on Backstage submitting. I had one girl tell me on set, she's like, and here I am kicking my feet up, happy the agent got me this gig, and I'm chilling. And she's like, yeah, every day I'm on Backstage and I submit to every single role that fits me.
Yeah.
And when I tell you I put my feet down, like, look at me, I'm already getting comfortable thinking I could ride this, and I need to hustle.
Wow. That's right.
So are you going to put in the work? If you are not going to put in the work, please don't even waste our time. Don't waste your time. Don't waste anyone's time. Don't cloud the timeline.
Don't waste your spouse's time. Your kids.
Please.
That's important. That's time. If the time you're, doing it halfway or wasting time, it's time that you're not spending with your family.
Yeah.
So if you're going to take time from your family and do anything, kill that thing.
Put in the work.
Put in the work for that thing, because you're taking that time. Every time you're on set for another commercial, movie, I don't care what it is.
away.
You're away from your family.
I'm away.
You're taking their time that they have for their dad, their husband. You're taking that from them.
Yep.
So if you're going to be somewhere taking that from them, why not kill it? You owe them that time.
Yeah.
I owe it to my family to show up the best version of myself.
Yeah.
Whether it's the studio booth or the TV set, show up the best version of yourself if you have that family back at home that you left and they're waiting for you to return and come back.
Yeah, man. That's it. Like, honestly, just hustle.
Hustle hard, man. Hustle hard. I appreciate you. I love you, bro, so much for being able to take time out of your busy
I have to come back again because this is fun. This is great. I love this stuff.
Look, I'm always looking for like resident co-hosts, man. I've been putting the word out there for people who are at least local and can make it to the studio.
Yeah, man. We got to finish our song, bro. Look,
I already laid my vocals down. The rest is you, man.
Yeah, I gotta.
It's on you. Man. I wish I actually had the.
You don't have the track?
No, I don't have the track in the audio.
I think I sent you.
I was trying to find the audio in my like past emails, and I'm like, dude, it'd be crazy if I could play that on the just the audio, not the lyrics. We don't want to spoil it. Yeah, but yeah, man, you gotta finish that.
And I knew you were. And when I sent you that beat and you had responded, I knew like you were actually about it. Like this life, you were actually about it. And everyone else who I submitted to, they were just about the image. Because that's the thing, man. A lot of people like the image more than they like the life.
Yeah, the idea. They like the idea of this.
Yeah, they can pose on Instagram, but it's like, are you willing to stay up? Are you willing to wake up at 4? Yeah. You know, like.
You got to, like my man said, man. You heard it from Maximum himself. Put in the work. Do the work. If you're an entrepreneur, if you're a creative out there, you got a family. And this pertains to if you don't have a family, guys. You should be hustling and doing the work, period. But for our personal, unique perspective that Sammy and I share, we have a family.
Yeah, man.
Use that as the tackling fuel, the drive, like, and the reason why you hustle hard, like, because whatever it is you're doing outside the home, I don't care what it is you're doing, it's taking time away from them, and you owe them that time. So you have to go out there and kill it. Show up every day. I don't care if you're a barber.
Yeah, dog.
We had a barber on the show the other day. You need to be showing up early AM, the first person in the barber shop, giving the sharpest, best, cleanest haircuts.
And you know what, too? Like, document it. Like, post it on the gram. Like, I'm tired of going on my timeline and seeing people with a new car, a new house, or like the big special grand thing in their life. Show us the process. If you're a barber, show us what it's like waking up at 5 a.m. to get to your chair. Like,
the process.
I want to see that. I only share my process.
I know. That's one thing I love about seeing your timeline is like, you want to know what the journey's been like? You can
scroll to the bottom. And I'm all about that because everything else is a fraud. You know what I mean? Like,
man.
Yeah, share the good moments.
Yeah.
But as a viewer, we can feel and enjoy the good moments with you when we are seeing the process.
When we can see that this organically is not just happening for you, but can also happen for me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because when I only see the glam, there's this disconnect.
Yes.
Of my present reality.
Yes.
I'm currently not in the glam or whatever. But if I could see, look at between those two amazing sets Sammy was on, he was just a normal guy, grinding, hustling just like me. So those two limelight moments could be in my life. I could have that moment if I'm willing to work equally hard.
Yeah, man.
Nah, you gotta. I'm a big, big advocate of show me it all. The good, the bad, the ugly. Show the process. I think that makes you appreciate the journey. It makes you appreciate the success more yourself. And I think it allows for others, again, a big part of my brand, mission is really to inspire other people to be the best version of themselves. You inspire that much better when people can relate. I can relate to your process. And if I tell people all the time, listen, especially, believers like me, other, Christians who, claim to believe in God like me, like, hey, I serve the same God you serve, man. Like,
yeah, man.
So if God did it for me, what makes, no respect of person. Like, you're not like some weirdo, like bastard, like child of like, you have the same opportunity, but we have to be, what does it say? Faith without works is dead. Where are you working?
Yeah.
Like just asking while just sitting in your comfortable seat.
No.
You gotta put that work in. And again, I've not only had the pleasure to cross paths with you on some of those platforms where we were working and putting in the work, but I've been able to watch you go on and
you too, man,
continually to grow. Like, it's the evidence of the work.
Yeah.
Beautiful, beautiful. Yo, man, again, big up for my man. Like, you're probably going to be the only one in history so far to date in the podcast to get a second applause, man. At the end of the show, I'm going to give you another one. Are you going to
keep all this, like, length? Like, it's an hour and 8 minutes long, people. I'm looking at the storyboard.
Yeah, I keep all of it, man. I'll delete out, like, the parts where I was, like, slightly burping or something, maybe, but...
You were I don't remember hearing or seeing you burp.
Nah, yeah, absolutely. Or where we were trying to, like, maybe swat this, like, fruit fly out of the way.
Oh,
maybe.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, I'm so grateful. That's why you see I have my gratitude rock here on the desk every day. I make sure, I'm just reminded.
5 things you're grateful for every day. Just say it in your head.
I'm so grateful, man. Again, man, it's free lunch. It's free food for your soul, y'all. Peace.
Peace.